What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm back today with another video. So you want to be a car enthusiast?
Classic.
Anyway, get ready to open up a second bank account, take out a couple of loans, and be prepared to spend countless hours working on what you'll be calling your pride and joy for the next 5 years. In this video, I'm going to be giving you a couple of tricks on how to get started, how to pick your car, how to start modifying it, what you'll need along the way, and how to move forward. Let's break it down for you. Alright guys, if you haven't already, go ahead down below and like this video, hit your notification bell so you can see when I post, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. It means a lot to me and I really do appreciate it. Okay guys, before we get started, I just want to give a short disclaimer. All of the information that I'm going to be giving in this video is all my opinion and my tips and tricks and skills that I have learned throughout the years up until now. So you may have done this completely different. You may have a completely different background and make different opinions. That's totally fine. This is just my opinion. This is how I got started and this is how I'm going to share it to you guys. So just wanted to share that before I get started and saying stuff. Alright, so now that that is out of the way, we can get started with today's video. So you want to be a car enthusiast? Well, first and foremost, and this step is pretty obvious, you got to pick a car. You got to pick out what you're going to run, what you're going to build, what you want to do. And before that, I would highly recommend deciding what you're going to do with said car. Are you wanting a daily driver? You just want to slap wheels on it and make it look good going from A to B? Are you wanting to drift it, track it? Or you want to do a crazy balls to the walls show car? You got to find out what you want to do with the car before you even start looking for a car. So let's say for the sake of this video that you want to build a street/show car. So let's start with that. First up on the list, I'm going to suggest the BRZ FRS Toyota 86 platform. It's a really good platform. It's super popular. It's all over the place. You can get an automatic or manual transmission, rear wheel drive. They're not very fast. They're about 180-ish horsepower from factory. But I think that that is the perfect amount of horsepower for learning and getting into the car scene. I think it's a really good, solid starter amount of horsepower. You're going to learn how to shift gears. You're going to learn how to go around the corner in a rear-wheel drive car without sliding it into a tree. They're absolutely everywhere. Price is starting to come down a little bit. Huge aftermarket support behind them. Lots of different body kits and exhausts and stuff like that. And a huge community behind them as well. The next car on the list I would suggest would be the Mazda Miata, specifically the NA. You get the fun little pop-up headlights
Without paying the ridiculous prices of an S13 right now.
They're small, rear-wheel drive, and they're excellent at taking corners and going around the turns. It's why you see them on the tail of the dragon all the time. It's why you see them on the track all the time. It's another fun, super popular platform. They're absolutely everywhere. They probably have one of the biggest communities behind them I've ever seen. Huge, massive aftermarket support behind them. Body kits, exhaust, same thing. They're absolutely everywhere, and a lot of people like them. Every time I see an owner driving down the road, they have the biggest smile on their face and they're only going 30 miles per hour down the road. I just don't see how you can't have fun driving one of those. They just look like a little blast. Another car on the list that I would suggest would be the VQ platform, specifically the Nissan 350Z and Infiniti G35. They're basically the same car with they just look a little different, but same motor. VQ is a pretty good, strong, reliable motor. This is another super popular, widely known car in the scene. And even though they sometimes sound like a marching band when they drive by, you can't deny that they have a massive following behind them. I will say that these cars are one of those that become ricey really, really fast if you don't do it the right way and be patient. So before you slap on that insert name brand here, eBay exhaust on your 350 or G35, stop.
Stop it.
Do your research, watch YouTube exhaust videos, go in the forums, go on the Facebook pages, find a buddy with a 350Z. If that exhaust sounds good, do that. Do that. Because if you slap on the eBay exhaust, it's gonna sound like shit. It will. I'm saving you a lot right now. Just get the nice one, find what other people are running, and if it sounds good, it's gonna sound good on yours as well. It is going to have the most horsepower out of the other cars on this list, so be careful with it. It is, again, rear-wheel drive and before you go taking it around the streets because you saw Tokyo Drift last night, be careful. Don't go sending it around a corner because you will send it into a tree, and that's not very fun. And finally, the last car on the list that I'm going to suggest is of course the iconic Honda Civic. Specifically, I'm going to recommend the 8th gen, which is 2006 to 2010 Civic Si. And I am going to put my foot down on this one. I'm saving you here. Get the Si. Because if you don't, and you show up with a base model Civic, you're going to get shit on by every single person you've ever met. Just save yourself and get the Si. Save up the extra penny. You get the manual transmission, you get the VTEC, and you get a little bit of a nicer interior. You can get the 8th gen in a coupe or a sedan. Both look really, really good, modified. People use the Civic everywhere. Probably the most used car in the car scene. Track. Show. They're absolutely everywhere. People use them to go rob DVD trucks with underglow under them. They're everywhere and an iconic staple in the car scene. They're reliable as hell. That's why Honda is used everywhere. They're good, strong, solid motors. You can fill them up in the Tella, push them off the Golden State Bridge, fish that thing out, and it would start right up. And I would even go as far as to recommending any of the Acuras as well. Integra, DC5, RSX, whichever one. Honda or Acura, get one of those. And again, this is another one of those cars that go ricey really, really fast. We've all seen it. We've all seen it. So just take your time, be patient, build your Civic Si the correct way. Take your time. Look at other people, check out the forums, like I said, with the VQ platform, and for the love of God, don't straight pipe your Civic. Find a good sounding exhaust for it. Just save us and don't straight pipe. So there are 4 really good entry-level, get into the car scene cars. Notice I didn't list anything German. Now this could be completely my opinion. You could absolutely love German cars and defend them all day long. That is your opinion. But in my opinion, Japanese cars are easier to hop into, easier to just work on, and easier to maintain and keep alive. Yes, I've owned 2 German cars. I owned the Mercedes. It was my first car. I had no choice. It was given to me. I drove that thing until it blew up. The E36, I had that thing for like 4 months. Everything broke on it. It was a nightmare. That's my 2 cents on German cars. And don't even get me started on Audis. And most of the time you see cars on Facebook Marketplace, people are selling their Mark IV Golf for 10 grand with 230,000 miles on it. And that BMW 3 Series has an oil leak that's so bad it's on its 5th owner. So there's my 2 cents. Alright, so you picked your car, and let's say for the sake of this video, you picked the 350Z as your street/show car. And now you want to go buy the 3-piece Workmeisters and the suspension and the exhaust and all the fun stuff. But hold on there, bud. Before you do anything like that, you want to make sure the car and engine is in good, solid running order. You got to do your oil checks. You got to do your coolant, your brake fluid, your ball joint, your suspension. Check for rusty bolts. Check for rust underneath the undercarriage. You got to make sure the car is in good, solid running order before you do any of the fun stuff. Because if you immediately go buy those 3-piece Workmeisters and then you blow up your car going down to the Dollar General at 10 p.m. because you didn't check the oil and it ran out, well, now you just have a really nice paperweight, and that's not fun. Do your maintenance checks, then do the fun stuff. And I would like to include, since we're talking about maintenance and stuff, go ahead and get yourself a nice tool set. Get yourself some sockets, ratchet wrenches, because it's a pain, because you go to get this bolt off and then you go dig in your grandpa's tool bag from 1986 and you can't find the 10 mil. So invest in a good tool set. And this is from experience too, because a few weeks ago we did the rear control arms in my car and we were hammering on that bolt and we could not get the ball joint to separate. I went to Harbor Freight and picked up that $20 tool. Get the tools to do the job and it's going to be a lot easier for you. If you are picking up your first manual car, I would highly recommend learning how to do that before you pick up the car, before you leave the parking lot in that car, so you don't hurt yourself or others on the road. Have a good sense in driving manual. YouTube videos are all over the place. I learned by doing it in person. My dad got the E36, he drove it to a parking lot. I met him at the parking lot. He did a couple laps, showed me what to do. I did a couple laps, going around and around and around. And then he said, all right, you're getting pretty good. If you can go around the school 3 times, start, stop, without stalling 3 times, then you're good to go. So that's what I did. I just learned how to do it. Now, why did I just tell you this life-changing story? Because I firmly believe that every car enthusiast should learn at least once or own a manual car at least one point in their life. Why? Because I think it's fun, it connects you to the car, and it's just a good skill to have. But that's in my opinion. You may be an automatic forever person. That's totally fine. I just think you should do it at least once and give it a go. Because it is fun, and there's no feeling like putting in a clutch, selecting a gear, flooring the gas. There's no feeling like it. Alright, so you picked out your 350Z. You know what you want to do with it. You've checked the maintenance on it. It's all good and running like a top. Now you get to have fun with it. Now you can start modifying your car. Now you can really do this anyway. Some people would argue you do suspension over wheels. I've seen wheels, suspension. I'm doing wheels first, then suspension. Do whatever way you feel like you want to do. Wheels and tires are probably the easiest and fastest way to change the look of your car without doing very little. Some brands that I would recommend starting out with are NK and Koenig. They're cheaper and they make good solid wheels, and you're not going to get made fun of for having reps. Some wheels I would stay away from: JNC, XXR, Autohan, Rhoda. You have those that you like commonly hear like, he's got reps. I would just stay away from them. Unless you have the money to get those 3-piece wheels right off the bat, props to you. I don't. I wish I did. Why I didn't suggest Conse's in that list is because since I have gotten them, I've gotten nothing but he's got reps, trash wheels, blah, blah, blah. But I'm not the person that would really care or give a shit what people think about the wheels. I've got compliments, plenty of compliments by running them. So you can run Conse's if you want, or not. Again, you can run whatever wheels you want, pick whatever. All I say is don't get Avid 1 AV6s and put Volk TE37 stickers on them to make them look like TE37s, because you will get called out. We know the difference, and people will shit on you. I'm just saving you now. And same thing goes for like rear wheel center caps on rep wheels. Don't do it. Don't do it. We know the difference. Now the next modification people usually tend to go to, unless it's already on the cart, is suspension. You have 3 main groups of suspension types. You have lowering springs, coilovers, and air suspension. Alright, so I'm not going to say too much about suspension. This choice is totally up to you. If you want to run lowering springs, lower just a little bit, coilovers, or air suspension, that is up to you. Air suspension usually is a lot more expensive than the other 2. Lowering springs are probably the cheapest option, and then coilovers is kind of right in the middle. Now, I will say this, don't cheap out on suspension components. Don't cheap out on them. If it's going to control how your car handles and possibly save your life, don't cheap out on it. I would recommend not going under $1,000 when it comes to coilovers or suspension or anything like that. Some brands I would recommend: Tane, Silver's Neomax, BC Racing, of course, and Fortunato. Those are some I would recommend. Air suspension, of course, Airlift Performance, D2, AccuAir. Those are all good brands for suspension as well. Alright guys, so you've picked your 350Z. You've picked out your wheels. The car's running good. You know how to drive manual. Maybe you lowered it an inch. Maybe you slammed it on its nuts and you put 3-piece work wheels on it. Who knows? Now you can go whichever route you want. You can get a few bolt-ons, maybe some headlights, some tint, crazy wrap, paint job, exhaust, a tune maybe. Do whatever you want. Maybe you decided after owning the car that you hate the sound of the VQ because it sounds like a trombone, and now you prefer the growl of an angry VR6, and you now like German cars. Who knows? It's completely up to you. Alright guys, so now that we're kind of wrapping up this video, I just want to leave you with one final tip. Build your car for yourself. Build it for you. Don't build it for other people. Don't build it for clout or views or TikTok or YouTube. Build it for you, because at the end of the day, you're going to be the one driving it and enjoying it and loving how it looks. And people can be assholes and rude, and everybody can have their opinion. You have to learn that people may hate your wheels, people may hate your car, people may love your car. It's, in the end of the day, it is your car. Build it however you want it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Maybe you're 15, 16, you don't have a car yet and you want to get into cars. Maybe this helped you out a little bit. Maybe you're not 16 and maybe never been into cars and now you are and you want to get into it. Hopefully this helped. If I didn't list a car that people should get into first, or a tip that helped you along the way, comment down below how you got started. Let other people know. I would really appreciate it and love to read about it. Don't forget to like this video, comment down below, hit the notification bell so you can see when I post, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I appreciate it. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.